So basically, we are given this parameter and we are asked to solve what we are given here. This is our question using integrating what factor. Now, the first thing you do is look at your question. What parameters are you seeing? We are seeing what? A trig parameter, trig function parameter. When I mean trig functions parameter, we are seeing what? Cos x here, and we are seeing what? Cos x. So what should come to your mind is trig identity as well. Are we together? Or how to represent cos x? Am I communicating? Now, if we want to solve this, the step for integrating factor, the first step is what? Rewrite your equation to suit the y over what? Dx plus what? Py equal to q. Look at this equation and look at this equation. Are they similar? Yes, they are similar in the sense that we are starting our equation with what? Dy over dx. This is what we have here. Now, what's now our py? We can see that our py here in this equation is simply what? Y cot x. What's our q? Our q in this equation is simply what? Cos x. Are we together? So basically, since you've succeeded in getting py and q, go over to the next step. The next step simply says what? Solve for or compare to get p and what? Q. Here we've gotten what? Q already, which is what we have here. The next thing is to compare to get what? P. Now, how do we get P here? We can only get P here if we divide both sides by what? Y. So if we have Py divided by Y, and this is equal to Y cot what? X divided by what? Y. Y will cancel out Y here. Y will cancel out what? Y here. We are left with what? 1, right? So your P will now be equal to 1 times cot x. It's still the same thing as cot x. So we have to have cot x. So we succeeded in getting P and what? Q. Now the next step simply says what? Apply your if statement. And what's our first if statement? Our first if statement is basically what? If is equal to exponential integral of P dx. Now, we already know what's P, right? So we impute P into this equation. If we impute P into this equation, we'll simply have if to be equal to exponential integral of what? What's now our P? Our P is now cot x. So this will be cot x dx. Are we together? Now, if we have cot x dx here, your interest is to solve what is integral of what? Cot x. That's our next step. So the next step here simply says what? Solve for what? P dx. That is what we want to do. Now, if we want to solve for P dx, we can simply say what? Your P dx, if we are solving for P dx, we can simply say integral of what? Cot x dx. Are we together? Now remember, from trigonometry, we know that when we have cot is basically what? Cos x divided by what? Sin x. Now, if we have cot x to be equal to what? Cos x divided by sin x in trigonometry, we can simply represent cot x with what we have here, such that we'll simply have integral of what? Cos x divided by what? Sin x dx. Now, what's the next thing you do? The next thing is to get the integral of cos x divided by what? Sin x. Now, we can call sin x u, right? We can call sin x u. So if we integrate what we have here, this will simply be what? Since we can call sin x u, if we integrate what we have here, this will be cos x divided by u. So if we integrate what we have here, this will simply give us what? Ln u. Are we to add plus c? No, we are not to add plus c because we are not done. But since we have ln u here, remember your u is what? Sine x. So this will be ln what? Sine x. Now what do? You take this back to what you have here as your exponential. So your new equation will now be if exponential what you've already solved. What we have here will now be what? If is equal to exponential ln sine x. Now remember, we are having exponential here, we are having ln here. Exponential can cut out your what? Your ln, and you're left with your new if statement to be equal to what? Sine x. Are we together? Since your new equation is equal to sine x, what's the next step? The next step simply says what? Apply your second if statement. And what's the second if statement? The second if statement simply says what? Y dot if is equal to exponential if dot what? Q dx. This is our second if statement. So if we apply our second if statement here, we'll simply have this to be equal to what? Y dot, what's now your if? Sine x, right? And this is equal to integral, your if inside. So you have sine x multiplied by what? What's now your q? Remember, our q was what? Cos x. So we are imputing cos x wherever we have what? Q. If we do that, we'll have this to be sine x multiplied by what? Cos x dx. This is what we have. This is what we have. Now, what's the next step? The next step is to solve for y. That's the next step. After applying your second if statement, you solve for what? Y. But remember, this equation is not simplified. Why? Why is this not simplified? Look at your right hand side of your equation. You can see that you have what? Integral of what? Sine x cos x. What is sine x cos x first? So we have sine x cos x. Go back to your trig identity. Your sine x cos x is what? Sine x cos x from trig identity is 1 over 2 sine 2x. So we have sine x to be 1 over 2 sine 2x. Wherever we see sine x cos x, we are replacing sine x cos x with what? 1 over 2 sine 2x. Are we together? Now, if we have that, your new equation will simply be what? Y sine x on the left hand side, and this will be equal to integral of 1 over 2 sine 2x dx. So in this case, we are not using sine x cos x, but we are using what? The trig identity for what? Sine x cos x. Are we together? Now, if we have this equation to look like this, the next thing you do is we are still integrating this right hand side. Integrating this right hand side, we can bring out our constant here to be what? Outside, and we'll have this to be y sine x, and this is equal to 1 over 2 integral of what? Sine 2x dx. Why are we doing this? We are doing this so that we can simplify our equation before finding the value of what? Y. Look at what we have here. We have here to be what? 2x. So we can call this, can we simplify what we have here? If we want to simplify what we have here, we can say that our u is equal to what? 2x. Since we have u to be 2x, we can differentiate u with respect to x such that we have du over what? Dx is equal to what? 2. So if we have du over dx to be equal to 2, can we find dx so that we can impute dx into this equation? So if we look for dx here, we'll simply have this to be over 1, right? Cross multiply, you have du divided by what? 2 dx. Now we want to make dx stand alone so that we can impute dx, we can impute the value or the parameter we got for dx into what we have here. Now if we do that, we are dividing this side by 2, we are dividing this side by 2, and we are left with what? Dx to be what? Du over what? 2, du over what? 2, right? So we can impute what we have here into this equation. Now let's solve for what we have here only. If we want to solve for what we have here only, we are simply seeing integral of what? Sine 2x dx. We already know that this is u. So your new equation will now be integral of what? Sine u dx. But what is dx? Dx is now what? Du over 2. So we have a new equation here to be sine what? Sine u multiplied by what? What's now dx? Du over 2. So this is du divided by what? 2. Now look up. What we have here is the same thing as writing your equation to look like this. Integral of what? 1 over 2 sine u du. Are we together? Now, if you integrate sine u, that will give you what? Cos. If you integrate sine, you have what? Minus cos. So remember, what we have here, we've already differentiated and we've imputed all those parameters here. So we can bring out 1 over 2. So we can say 1 over 2 into, if we integrate sine u, we'll simply have what? Minus cos u. So this will give us minus what? Cos u plus what? C. Why are we adding plus C? Because this is the last integration we are seeing. So after every end of an integration, you add your constant to that solution. Are we together? Now look up. What we have here, we are simply seeing 1 over 2 minus cos u plus C. You know how we arrive at u, right? We call 2x to be u while we differentiated. After differentiating, we got the value of what? Du over what? Dx. We imputed those parameters into this equation and we had what? This new equation, which is what we have here. After that, we simplified the equation by bringing this to be what? 1 over 2, and we know that 1 over 2 can be outside your what? Outside your integral sign because it's a constant. After doing that, we now simplify what is what? Integral of what? Sine u. And we had integral of sine u to be what? Minus cos u. And we added our constant to it. Are we together? Now, what we have here is what we've already solved. Was what we solved. So what we do is we are imputing this equation into what we've already solved. Now, if you impute that equation, our new equation will now be y sine what? X will be equal to, we have an existing 1 over 2, which is what we have here. Since we have an existing 1 over 2, we can put everything here in a bracket. And remember, we've already simplified what we have here to be this value here. Now, if we do that, this will now be, remember, we have minus 1 over 2 cos what? Cos u, right? After cos u, we now have what? Plus what? Plus c, which is our constant. Now, if we want to simplify this and this is multiplying. This will give you what? 1 divided by 4, because 2 times 2 is 4. 1 times 1 is what? 1. And we have our minus outside. Cos, what's now your u? Remember, we said our u is what? 2x. So we'll simply have here to be what? 2x instead of having u. So this is 2x, right? So we have this to be 2x plus c. Now remember, on the left hand side of your equation, you have y sine what? X. And our interest is to what? To solve for y. So if you want to solve for y from this equation, we'll simply divide through our equation with what? Sine x. So you are dividing here with what? Sine x. You are dividing here with what? Sine x. And you are also dividing this part of your equation with sine x. Such that you'll be left with what? Y to be equal to minus 1 over 4 cos 2x divided by what? Sine x plus what? C divided by sine x. Are we together? Now, what we have here can also be simplified to be minus 1 over 4 cos 2x plus c divided by what? Sine x. So better still, you can leave your answer like this, or if you want to further simplify, you do so. Are we together? So you've gotten your value of y, and your y is now minus 1 over 4 cos 2x plus c divided by what? Sine x. So this is how to solve a problem given to you using what? Integrating factor. Do well to like, comment, and drop your questions on the comment section. See you in my next class.